My father is the Prime Minister. I accidentally bound with a female villain system, and I am the only female general in the country, the protector of the realm. Yet, I ended up bound with a male power fantasy system. Since then, he has been desperately acting out and losing his mind in the inner palace, while I can only fight desperately on the front lines to keep him alive, snatching the phoenix crown, barking like a dog. The whole world is laughing at him. Only I know that every time he acts crazy, he is taking the fall for me. The north wind blew the enemy's banner askew. With one strike, I cut down the enemy's vanguard commander. General, the vanguard battalion is retreating. Should we pursue? Pursue what? We only have enough rations for 3 days. If we chase them halfway, the whole army will starve to death on the grasslands. Saving firewood for the northern DI, are we? General, a message from the capital. Is it? From my father. Yes. Step back. Last month someone didn't move fast enough and got hit in the forehead by the general's teacup. They're still wearing a bandage now. My father Shen Heting, the Prime Minister, at noble consort Zheng's birthday banquet, in front of all the noblewomen of the court, he slapped the consort across the face. How dare you wear jade of such poor quality? Did he hurt her? They say the consort dropped her earrings on the spot. How much were those earrings worth? 1,000 taels for the jade alone. My name is Shen Qingtang, the Protector General, and at this moment the only thing I want to do is ride 800 miles back to the capital and tie my own father up. Congratulations, you have bound with the male power fantasy system. Host identity Protector General of the Great Jin Dynasty. Complete tasks to earn rewards. Refuse tasks, and your combat power will be reset to 0. Is this a hallucination? Until news came from the capital that my father stood up during the morning court and said one thing: I feel the weather is quite nice today. From that day on, he was like a different person. One day he is arguing with concubines in the inner palace. The next he is critiquing the eunuch's fashion sense in the imperial garden. And the day after that, he is in the Empress Dowager's palace judging the quality of her jewelry. A 50-year-old prime minister, living as the inner palace's #1 troublemaker. I tried asking him what was going on. His answer was, "Father has recently developed a keen interest in palace life. You wouldn't understand. I don't understand. And I don't want to. My own broken system is enough for me to deal with. For 3 months, tasks have been popping up every other day. Attack this, defend that, intercept them. I'm like a wound-up killing machine. One battle after another, without even a moment to catch my breath. As for what kind of evil spell my father is under, I can't manage it and I don't want to. Anyway, he makes the mess, and I clean it up. That is how we've spent the last 3 months. Wei Shua sent a second letter. The letter detailed the aftermath of the noble consort incident. My father was summoned to the Golden Throne Hall by Emperor Xiaoyan. Shen Heting, give me a reason. Your Majesty, please calm your anger. You slapped my noble consort in front of over 100 noble women. Do you have any idea how many impeachments I will have to face at tomorrow's morning court? Your Majesty, your subject can explain. Explain yourself. The jade set your Majesty bestowed upon the consort had a grayish tint, and against her skin tone it made her look sickly. I could not bear to see the consort attend the banquet in such a state. It would have damaged the dignity of the imperial family. That slap was purely out of aesthetic consideration, with absolutely no selfish motives. Get out. Shen Heting, what kind of creditor were you to me in a past life? How much do I owe you from my previous life? While I was busy fighting the Vanguard Battalion, the Northern Diff launched a surprise attack on the 3 northern border cities. The 3 cities fell. The people fled south. 2 granaries were burned down. Why were the 3 cities lost? Because the request for grain from the Ministry of War was buried in the capital for 5 days. Why didn't anyone approve it? Because the entire Ministry of War's attention was focused on dealing with my father and the noble consort incident. New mission: recapture the 3 northern cities within 3 days. Reward: strength +1. Tactical experience 500. Failure penalty: strength reset to 0. 3 days, 3 cities. No grain or supplies, no reinforcements from the rear, and the Ministry of War is still bickering. Wei Shuo. Here, assemble the troops. Light cavalry leads the way. We depart in 2 hours. Yes, sir. General, what about the situation in the capital? That is my father. What else can I do? 3 cities in 3 days. We can manage until tomorrow or the day after. We have enough troops, but not enough to split them up. We can reach the first city by traveling through the night. For the second city, we can ambush them by circling the eastern hill. The third city is the toughest. We'll figure that out when we get there. I don't know what other trouble my father will stir up, but I have no choice right now. I have to look after myself first. I'll clean up the mess he left behind once I'm back alive. 3 days later, I recaptured the 3 northern cities. For the first city, 300 light cavalry raided at night. The enemy was still celebrating their victory. I smashed the city gates open. For the second city, I used a diversionary tactic. I had Wei Shu plant flags all over the eastern hill. I climbed over the wall from the west. I took down the garrison commander by myself. The third city was under siege for a day and a half without success. In the end, I carried the battering ram up there myself. Wei Shu hesitated for a long time while writing the military report. He changed. The general carried the ram alone to break the gate. The general led the charge, boosting the morale of the troops. I took a look at it and didn't change it back. If this kind of thing gets out, the Ministry of War will impeach me again for not valuing my own life. I can't give anyone any leverage to impeach me right now. Mission accomplished. 3 northern cities recaptured. Strength +1. From the capital. Yes. My father. Yes. The Prime Minister, at the Empress's birthday banquet, snatched the Empress's phoenix crown, put it on his own head, and then ran out of the palace hall. The Empress's birthday banquet. Half the prominent women in the capital were there. Your Majesty, are you all right? I am wondering if there is any point in me continuing to be emperor. How far did he run? 3 streets. None of the guards could catch him. All 12 of them failed to catch him. Well, all right then. At least his health is still good. My father was finally found behind the rockery in the back garden. Return the phoenix crown to the Empress, and please convey my apologies. The 3rd pearl on the crown is loose. I suggest replacing it. The next day, Xiaoyan's desk was piled high with memorials. Grand Marshal Zhou Chong's wording was extremely severe. Shen Heting has committed treason and rebellion, corrupting the court's order, a crime punishable by death. Xiaoyan looked at the memorials and had them bring my father's confession. The confession was written in an extremely perfunctory manner. The last sentence read, I am deeply remorseful. I will be sure to pay attention next time. Xiaoyan stared at the words, next time, for 3 seconds. He had them dig up my father's old memorials from 10 years ago. Shen Heting, what exactly is wrong with you? This father and daughter are not right. The daughter is fighting for her life at the border, achieving one military merit after another. The father is going crazy in the capital, creating one joke after another. The Prime Minister snatched the Empress's phoenix crown. Is that for real? It is absolutely true. It was written in an 800-ly urgent dispatch. Vice General Wei, did the Prime Minister act like this before? In the past, the Prime Minister could make officials of the 3rd rank or higher tremble just by hearing his name. Now, the whole capital wants to laugh when they hear his name. General, the wind is strong tonight. Get some rest early. Wei Shuo, do you think my father runs so fast because he secretly practiced at home? Perhaps it is just a survival instinct. Let's go, time to sleep. Over these past 3 months, I've noticed something very subtle. Every time my father causes trouble in the capital, once the news reaches the northern border, my system usually pops up a new task. That same day or the next. The first time he slapped the imperial concubine, the task was to recapture 3 cities. The second time he snatched the phoenix crown, the task was to intercept the northern D-Scout camp. The third time he released all of Xiaoyan's pet koi, the task was to escort military supplies to the frontline outpost. Every time, the timing was incredibly precise. I hadn't thought much of it initially. In war, having many tasks is normal. The Northern D won't attack based on my father's schedule. I took out a notebook and listed every time a letter arrived, and when the system popped up, I listed them all out. The concubine incident. Incident at the hour of the snake. System pop-up. Noon of the same day. The Phoenix Crown incident. Incident at the hour of the dragon. System pop-up. Hour of the snake of the same day. New task about to refresh. Trigger condition. Trigger condition. Waiting for related event. What does related event mean? Less than half a day later, a letter from the capital arrived. I opened the letter. My father had spent an entire afternoon hugging a rockery in the imperial garden, crying and shouting. This rock looks just like my late mother. The eunuchs in the garden hurriedly called the guards. Xiaoyan went to take a look himself. After seeing it, he returned to the study with a blank expression, sitting alone on the dragon throne in his study, staring into the void and thinking. New task. Repel the Northern D-Scout Cavalry. Intercept enemy battle maps. Failure penalty. Entire army scout system paralyzed for 3 days. I looked down at the time on the letter. Today, Hour of the Dragon. System pop-up. Today, at noon. Rockery incident. Hour of the Dragon. System pop-up noon. After writing it down, I reviewed all 4 pieces of information. They all match. The margin of error is no more than 4 hours. Whenever my father makes a scene over there, a task pops up for me here. What exactly is connecting these two? General Scouts report the Northern D Cavalry has moved. Gather the troops and move out. Captured a battle map from the scout camp's inner tent. Back at camp, I took out the notebook from under my pillow. Is this connection one-way or two-way? I need more data. In the days that followed, I began to carefully record every letter from the capital. One letter mentioned that my father ran into imperial concubine Zheng at the palace gate. The concubine pulled out a gold hairpin and lunged at him. My father dodged. The hairpin stuck into the door frame. Nice hairpin, but your angle was off. 3 inches to the left would have been more accurate. Why was there no related task this time? Are there certain conditions that need to be met? A few days later, Wei Shuo brought another letter. First, my father's exploits have spread throughout the capital, becoming the talk of the tea houses. Second, Emperor Xiaoyan read my battle report. Shen Heting, is this insane? How is he still winning? Does the Shen family use some kind of dark magic? The crazier the father, the fiercer the daughter. A tiger father has no dog for a daughter. Third, Grand Marshal Zhou Chong along with 12 other court officials submitted a petition to impeach both me and my father. Shen Heting is spreading heretical ideas, disturbing the inner palace. Shen Qingtang is hoarding troops for her own power, refusing to obey orders. We request your majesty to strip Shen Qingtang of her military authority. There is something connecting my father and me. Whenever he makes a move over there, things change for me over here. Subsequently, Zhou Chong used the excuse of auditing accounts to have a shipment of grain bound for the northern border intercepted. The Northern Frontier Army has 200,000 men, the most formidable fighting force in the Great Jin Dynasty. If the commander is replaced, the military power becomes his. Impeaching my father was just a pretext. Getting rid of me was the real goal. If the grain doesn't arrive in 4 days, there will only be 2 options: retreat to save our lives, or slaughter the horses for food and continue to hold the line. General, a cavalryman's life is tied to his horse. I know, which is why I don't intend to kill the horses. I intend to have my father solve this for me. General? The Prime Minister's current state, his state, is exactly what I need. I took out some stationery to write to my father. Tomorrow, find a way to keep His Majesty too busy to sign Zhou Chong's petition. Do whatever it takes to cause a scene. Just don't kill anyone. That same afternoon, a family letter was sent from the northern border, bound for the capital. This girl has finally learned how to make proper use of her father. The weather is nice today. Perfect for causing trouble. Don't bother preparing dinner today. I might be back late. My lord, are you going into the palace again? Yes, to see the Empress Dowager. Your subject Shen Heting pays his respects to the Empress Dowager. May the Empress Dowager be blessed with eternal peace. What are you here for? I came to see if the Empress Dowager has changed her curtains yet. I haven't. My curtains are none of your concern. Then I shall look at something else. Empress Dowager, this fur looks quite nice. It is dark and glossy. My daughter is fighting in the north where the wind and sand are harsh. She happens to need a scarf. Do you think I could have this? Put that down. I met you when I was young. The year you first passed the imperial examination, riding your horse through the streets. Every girl in the capital was watching you. You were such a fine man back then. If you have truly gone mad, the great Jin dynasty has lost a pillar of support. However, I have always felt that a truly mad person wouldn't only steal trivial things. When Xiaoyan heard these words, he was in the middle of reviewing petitions. Pass a message to Zhou Chong. The border is not yet secure, so no personnel changes will be made. 2 days later, I received the news. General, as for the provisions, wait a little longer. My father isn't done making a scene yet. Wait, we did, for 2 whole days. Our food reserves grew smaller by the day. The veteran cooks began adding wild herbs to the porridge. I squatted at the entrance of my tent with my bowl, drinking it with the old soldiers beside me. This vegetable has a bit of a chew to it today. Just past noon, Wei Shuo brought news. General, a message has arrived from the capital. During this morning's court session, the Prime Minister sat on the floor of the Golden Throne Hall and wept. Your Majesty, the South Sea pearls you gifted to the imperial noble consort, why were they not gifted to me? I rack my brains for you every single day. handling court affairs, border defense, taxes, and water conservancy. Yet your majesty only looks at the consort and never at me. I have lost my composure. I shall take my leave. The audit is complete. The Ministry of War has sent men to take over the supply route. You don't need to worry. The provisions are already on the way. They are expected to arrive tomorrow. The general smiled suddenly today, suspected to be because of a letter from the capital. The meaning of the smile is unclear. This subordinate did not dare to ask further. So these two systems really do influence each other. Early the next morning, the provisions arrived. The mess hall started cooking again. The soldiers lined up for their meal. There were smiles on their faces. General, there are no wild vegetables today. Don't tell anyone about my father's situation. Understood. Next time I need to figure out more and get rid of this treacherous system as soon as possible. Current host, Shen Heting. Current task, create an incident while the emperor is having tea. Option A. Add laxatives to the tea. The emperor suffers from diarrhea for a day. Morning court session cancelled. Option B. Burn down the crown prince's eastern palace. Arson leads to collective punishment. Shen Qingtang is charged and recalled. Option A. In progress emperor. Reasonable, emperor. Task 003. Cause a conflict with the emperor's koi fish in the imperial garden. Selected. Release all the koi fish. Reason, they are incompatible with my horoscope. Task 007. Perform a very unconventional talent in front of the Empress Dowager. Selected. Bark like a dog in front of the Empress Dowager. After the host barked 3 times, the Empress Dowager ordered him to stop. The host added 2 more barks to finish. Task completed. Task 015. Perform non-court related physical movements during the morning court session. Selected. Dance during the morning meeting. Task 019. Forcibly obtain an iconic item belonging to a core figure in the inner palace. Selected. Seize the Empress's phoenix crown at her birthday banquet and wear it. I flipped back to the options for Task 007. There were 3 in total. Option A. Bark like a dog in front of the Empress Dowager. Reward. Life points +1. Option B. Smash the Empress Dowager's most cherished Buddha statue. Reward. Life points +2. Option C. Slap Shen Qingtang in public. Reward. Life points +3. Selected. Bark like a dog. Footsteps of the guard shift change could be heard outside the tent. The interface flickered a few times and disappeared. I sat in the tent, looking at the map spread out before me, lost in thought. General, is something the matter? Nothing, just catching some air. On that very same day, Xiao Yan also discovered something. He had dug up all the confessions my father had written over the past 3 months, but in 6 of them, an extra character was added to the signature. I am not mad, do not harm Tang. Go to the Imperial Household Department, take the salary that was withheld from Shen Heting over the last 3 months, and pay it back to the Prime Minister's residence in full from my private treasury. Use the secret accounts, don't let anyone know. Just say the Prime Minister has been working hard lately, and this is to cover some tea expenses. Sir, the Imperial Household Department just sent over a sum of silver. Wei Shuo, help me look into something. 3 months ago, on the day my father first went mad, what exactly happened in the capital? Use the military express courier. The more detailed, the better. I want to know who was present that day, what my father did, whether there were any abnormalities beforehand, and how it was handled afterwards. General, why are you looking into this? Don't worry about why I'm looking into it. Just help me investigate. Yes, sir. General, have you had breakfast? No, the provisions have arrived. There are no wild vegetables in the porridge today. Understood. Bring a bowl in. I found it 3 months ago at the morning court session. The agenda was the northern border military pay and the storage of the autumn harvest. Halfway through the discussion, the Prime Minister walked to the center of the hall without being summoned, and then he performed a Sogdian world dance. How long did he dance? About the time it takes to brew a cup of tea. He finished the dance and returned to his place in line, without changing his expression, as if nothing had happened. I closed my eyes, recalling what I saw through the shared memory. A. Dance during the morning court session. Reward +1 horsepower. B. Assault an official of the 3rd rank or higher. Reward +2 horsepower. C. Assassinate the Emperor. Reward +5 horsepower. The highest reward among all historical missions. If he completes just this one, he can safely skip several punishments ahead. If the assassination succeeds, the Great Jin will be turned upside down. The new Emperor's first act will be to purge the Shen family. My 200,000 troops will become a traitorous army. If he fails, he dies on the spot. The Shen family will lose their backing, and Zhou Chong will immediately seize military power. I will be isolated and helpless in the north. Success is a dead end. Failure is also a dead end. That is why he chose to dance. From that day on, the whole world thought he had gone mad. Wei Shuo, you go out first. Yes. Every set of options had one involving me. Beat me, implicate me, frame me, report me. He didn't choose a single one. General, what kind of man was the Prime Minister before? The veterans in the army have all said the name Shen Heting used to be sharper than a blade in the imperial court. The ministers of the 6 ministries would bow their heads in his presence. But I still can't figure it out. If it was all an act, why would he pretend? His reputation is completely ruined. What good does that do him? It does him no good, but it does for me. Get out. Is there any path that could let both of us escape from this broken system? A few days later, Zhou Chong united 16 court officials to submit a joint petition. The wording had changed too. Last time, it was to request the removal of Shen Qingtang's military command. This time, it was to request the execution of Prime Minister Shen Heting and to investigate Shen Qingtang for treason. Once the charge of treason is confirmed, it is not just a matter of losing military command. It means the execution of the entire family. Second, he didn't intercept the grain himself this time. Instead, he bribed the officials at 3 relay stations along the way, holding up the supplies under the pretext of vehicle maintenance. Third, I was patrolling the camp that evening. Wei Shuo. General, if you care about me, could you be a little gentler with your hands? Shut up. The poison isn't deep. Your life will be saved. You can't move for 3 days. General, that is an order. Take the sword to be examined. I want to know the source of the poison and the style of the sword. Strengthen the night patrols throughout the camp. Double the number of sentries. Yes. I walked back to my tent and sat down. 3 things were spread out on the table. The evil woman system is linked and bound to the male lead power fantasy system. The evil woman system is responsible for creating plot events and chaos in the situation. The male lead power fantasy system is responsible for handling the events and completing the challenges. The progress of both systems is synchronized and bound. If either host fails a mission, the other system will simultaneously trigger a level-based penalty. When both systems simultaneously meet the final clearance conditions, the systems will be permanently unbound. Appendix, System Event Correlation Table. Seal the Prime Minister's residence. Enter the palace. It is time. I walked to the entrance of Wei Shu's tent. He was half leaning on the bed, dozing off with his eyes closed. Zhou Chong, you shouldn't have touched my people. Final mission. Defeat the main force of the Northern Decon Aguli. 1 battle to secure the northern frontier. Mission reward, permanent system unbinding. Failure penalty, host death. Associated system has simultaneously issued the final mission. Clearance conditions. Hosts of both systems must on the same day each complete their final mission. If either host fails, both systems will be judged as failed. Guards, pass the order to the entire army. Break camp today. Target, the Northern DI main camp. General Tode. I don't know what Father's final mission is, but I know he must have received his as well. General, are you going to? All troops attack. This is the final battle. It is time for us to make our move. At the morning court, the civil and military officials filed into the hall. Zhou Chong arrived. Consort Zheng arrived as well. Standing behind the screen in the side hall, Xiao Yan sat on the dragon throne, his expression very calm. My father was the last to walk into the hall. Zhou Chong didn't pay him any mind. He was waiting for my father to lose his mind, and then seize the chance to strike. The first stack, a copy of the secret letter you wrote to the Northern Dai Second Prince. The second stack, the complete accounts of the 3 grain interceptions. The third stack, the assassination list. Your Majesty, Shen Heting is a madman. How can anything he produces be taken as evidence? Zhou Chong, you thought I'd been insane for 3 months and knew nothing. But you forgot one thing. A madman can go anywhere, hear anything, and see anything, because no one guards against a madman. Who did you talk to in the Ministry of War's secret chamber? Who did you meet in the study of the Zhou residence? How many letters did you send out the side gate in the middle of the night? You thought no one saw. But that night, there happened to be a madman at your gate, hugging the stone lion and crying. The one thing you didn't account for was that a madman needs no reason to appear anywhere. That you didn't guard against me was my greatest pass. Your Majesty, I played the madman for 3 months, just waiting for this day. Please look at this evidence. When he was snatching the phoenix crown in the inner palace, Zhou Chong was hijacking your military grain. When I was crying in the court, Zhou Chong was sending men to kill your generals. The one you kept by your side was no loyal subject, but a wolf waiting to devour the great Jin dynasty. Guard seized Zhou Chong. I am wronged. Shen Heting is a madman. I investigated this myself. Every time you impeached the Shen family, it was timed exactly when Shen Qingtang's battles were most critical. Once is a coincidence. Twice is a coincidence, but 7 times. Zhou Chong was held by the guards. As he was dragged past the screen in the side hall, a handkerchief drifted gently down at his feet. That plate of poisoned deer tendon that was smashed was your doing, wasn't it, Lord Zhou? I wasn't acting for the Emperor. I was acting as a madman who wouldn't implicate his daughter. Get up. I was acting along with you for a while too. Did you really think I was so angered by you that I smashed my cup every time? From the day I saw those 5 words in your confession, I knew you weren't mad, but I couldn't expose you. If I had, your play couldn't have continued, and Zhou Chong wouldn't have revealed so many flaws, so I played along with you. You played the madman out front, and I handled the rest behind the scenes. Shen Heting, did you really think I would let Zhou Chong touch your daughter? I thank your Majesty. After this battle, I'm going home. I used a tactic I'd been holding back for a long time, a frontal feint to pin down Agul's main force, while sending light cavalry around the flank to the enemy's rear. He soon noticed the movement on his flank, and dispatched 3,000 cavalry to block it. But that was exactly what I was waiting for. The moment his main force shifted, a gap appeared in his front line. I led my personal guard battalion and charged through the gap. I was the first one in, cutting down 3 generals in the middle of their ranks. I fought my way all the way to Agul's command banner. His deputy general raised his blade to stop me, but I struck him down from his horse with one blow. The command banner fell, and the enemy formation collapsed. Agul retreated under the protection of his personal guards. He looked back once from his horse. It is finally over. General, have some water. Final mission complete. The Villainous system's final mission has been synchronized and completed. Clearance conditions met. System permanently unbound. Countdown 3, 2, 1. System cleared. Thank you for using. It is gone. What is gone? Nothing. Pass the order to the whole army. Clear the battlefield. Set up camp here, and we depart for the capital tomorrow. Yes, sir. That is His Majesty. The Emperor coming out of the city to welcome us. This must be a first for the great Jin dynasty. I have fulfilled my duty and have come to report back. I came to see you, and to make sure your father isn't wearing a phoenix crown today. You're back. Father, next time could you? Never mind. There won't be a next time. It is salty, salty. You've been complaining about my cooking since you were a child. It really is salty. Tanger, father wants to ask you something. Over these past few months, was my dancing any good? It was hideous. What about the dog barking? Even worse. And crying while hugging the rockery, don't even mention it. But thank you.